front of me. It's already wired up. And he comes in, I just hear behind me, he goes, "You must be Paul," in his German accent. I can't do it. I turn around, it's Michael Schenker. I'm like, wow, this is so cool. I'm like, wow, this is, like, man, Michael Schenker. Like, wow, and at this point, I mean, I'm pretty versed, as a tech. I mean, it's kind of hard to make me feel starstruck, because
Right.
I've met a lot of people at this point. And it's Michael Schenker, and he had this tote bag full of wah-wah pedals, and he goes, "Okay, we're going through these." And that's the first thing he did. We're going to stage, and he puts a bag down, and it's just, it's like 12 wah-wah pedals. Like, okay, so I run a cable out, and he goes through the wahs. We turn them upside down, and I open them up. We had the dial. He goes, "Now spin it." Now he'd play, and he's ripping, and he goes, "Stop." Whenever I hit a certain point, "Stop," he'd yell. I go, "Okay," and we'd lock, because he'd engage the wah
Right.
to that point, that really sweet tone area. And so that was the only thing in the signal path in front of the guitar, besides the wireless. So you had a wireless going into the wah pedal, and then to the amp. And the amp was just was a Marshall solid state amp, and they sounded great. And then that broke into a TC 2290 delay, which then went into two Marshall super lead heads that we just used the power section of. So the Marshall solid state amp was the preamp to preamp out into the delay to knock it to stereo into two returns of the Marshall late 70s or early 80s amps for power.
Okay.
And that was the rig. Yeah. And he would come down early. Here's another guy who his work ethic, it was incredible. I'd imagine he's still doing this today, I'd imagine, right? He would come down early to sound check. Well, I'm sorry, sound check would be at 4:00, but he'd be there at 1. And he'd come in, I'd have his Pellegrino water ready for him, a large Pellegrino on the rack, and I'd have the V tuned a half step up. So it was tuned to F, restrung and tuned to F. And he would come in, hey, I give him the guitar. He had a Rockman on a belt. He had a thick belt around his waist, and he had a Rockman, and he had these portable little like speakers that he would hang around his neck right here that plug into the Rockman. And he would walk around the venue and walk around the parking lot, just walk around and play and play and play until sound check. At sound check, I would knock the guitar down to E, right? And then after sound check, I'd knock it back up to F, and he would take it to the dressing room, and he would play until showtime.
Wow.
No, but I'm okay. I'm exaggerating. About 45 minutes before showtime, I'd go back and grab the guitar so it would settle in. I'd knock it back to E. But that's how Michael Schenker would warm up. He'd tune the guitar to F, and he'd play all day. And it was mind blowing to watch him play up close.